Harry's Wife, Part 101.96, The Duchess of Decline. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing to explain narcissism, how it functions, how it operates, and how, of course, the narcissist responds to certain situations through a variety of video material and press publications. We turn to a slightly different publication now as opposed to mainstream media, and an article that appears in something called The American Mind, which is a publication of the Claremont Institute. Now, the Claremont Institute is a conservative think tank that's based in Upland, California. The institute was founded in 1979 by 4 students of Harry V. Jaffa. It produces the Claremont Review of Books, The American Mind, and other publications. The institute apparently was an early defender of Donald Trump. And after Joe Biden won the 2020 election and Donald Trump refused to concede while making claims of fraud, Claremont Institute senior fellow John Eastman aided Trump in his failed attempts to overturn the election results. No prizes for guessing who edited that, the political leanings of who edited that in relation to the Claremont Institute. So we have a conservative think tank which has a particular publication. And therefore, somebody such as Harry's Wife is likely to come within their sights as a target for comment. And indeed she has. Of course, we see a lot of what would be described as left-leaning publications supporting Harry's Wife, although I recognise that there are those on the American left who are not supportive of her behaviours and would distance themselves from her. But she nailed her colours firmly to the mast with regard to trying to court Democratic politicians, Democratic senators, Democratic supporters and influencers, not only in terms of bolstering her own credentials vis-à-vis facade management and asserting control and drawing fuel, but also part, of course, of her narcissism drive to see if she can actually do something as a politician, as it gropes around in the dark, trying to turn on the light switch that would grant her some form of actual success rather than that which is manufactured. Accordingly, if Harry's Wife is going to be placed anywhere on the political spectrum, it would be more towards being a Democrat, which means that there would be those amongst the right that would see her as fair game. So let's see what the American Mind have to tell us about this. The article by Helen Roy is titled The Duchess of Decline. Harry's Wife obsesses us because she is a symbol of our willful degeneration. Powerful words indeed. The Queen is dead. Long live the King. The Queen is dead, but the world media wants to make it about cable actress and fashion blogger, or fashion blogger, Harry's Wife, cutting words from the off, albeit accurate, namely explaining that's all she is, a cable actress and somebody who is a blogger. This includes everyone from Harry's Wife's low IQ lackeys, who have used the opportunity, following her example, once again to belabour the subject of the royal family's supposed racism, to her haters, whose blinding outrage propels them to seek the devil, the Duchess, under every rock. And in that opening paragraph, it demonstrates the polarising nature of Harry's Wife, whereby she has those low IQ lackeys that form the Sussex squad that blindly follow her and repeatedly, in that knee-jerk, pathetic reaction, yell, "You're a hater, you're a racist, you don't know her, leave her alone." And then, of course, on the other side, there is a strata of individuals who positively hate her and look for every opportunity to do her down. And then there's a much larger group. And this much larger group consists of the middle ground of those who aren't interested in her at all and had never even heard of her previously, and then another large group of those who dislike her behaviours, find her tedious, find her irritating, find her empty and banal, and that her frequent attempts to court popularity, court press attention, pathetic. And of course, all of this contributes to these polarising views. Returning to the article, how did we get here? Why does Harry's Wife affect everyone so? Why can't I log on without seeing her face? Some answers are straightforward. She's relatively good-looking for one, and she operates at the precise nexus of palace intrigue and celebrity gossip. She's also explicitly political, in the sense that she's all too eager to demonstrate fealty to the gods of woke in every elaborate flourish. She is familiar. Many of us have a Harry's wife in the family. Now, of course, they're right. There may well be a narcissist in the family, though so far it doesn't appear that this writer is necessarily talking about that, although naturally she has to be, but is describing her as a different type of beast. But many of us, the article states, have a Harry's wife in the family, or at least have encountered one in the wild. It's a type who is basically willing to ruin someone else's reputation to enhance their own. And my observation there is that typically, although not exclusively, but typically is the behaviour, of course, of a narcissist. By lopping you off the kneecaps, we become taller than you, rather than us deciding that we will build something and stand upon it. This particular kind of person has been especially empowered by the advent of cancel culture, and a political environment which perceives victimhood as currency. It may be the jealous sister-in-law, or the abusive spouse, who, despite being constantly caught up in her own elaborate web of lies, finds a certain legitimacy in performative victimhood. Amber Heard, see parts passim. Jada Smith, see parts passim. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. We all know her. Feigned injury is the narcissist's fog of war, the thing that prevents the world from perceiving her true viciousness. And the author gets there, identifying what she is. One story illustrates the example clearly. Ahead of her marriage to Harry the Spare, Harry's wife made Catherine, Princess of Wales, cry. This she did by insisting that Catherine's daughter Charlotte, a flower girl, could not wear stockings to the wedding. Corrective devaluation of Charlotte, corrective devaluation by triangulation of Catherine. To have bare legs at a formal event is against royal protocol, and the dresses Harry's wife had picked for the little girls were insufficiently modest. Having 20 years of experience under this particular limelight, Catherine worried about her young daughter stumbling and revealing too much during the second most photographed social event of the decade, Catherine exhibiting her emotional empathy for her daughter. Nevertheless, Harry's wife persisted, Catherine's concerns, of course, being a threat to control. She summoned the flying monkeys, or better, more accurately, members of the coterie, her socialite friends, to bully the Waleses into submission, assertion of control by proxy. Kate cried. After the story was reported to the press and after the royal family did not dispute it, Harry's wife secured an interview with Oprah Winfrey in which she explicitly stated that the precise opposite happened, revision of history, lie, citing as proof of her innocence the fact that Kate gave her flowers, insinuating that Prince Catherine's ex post facto signal of goodwill was an admission of guilt, twisting the truth, rather than a palliative gesture of charity ahead of the wedding. That wedding was entirely funded by the British taxpayer, sense of entitlement, lack of emotional empathy, residual benefit, whom she also trashed in the Oprah interview, devaluation, and in several others since as deeply racist. Little indications of the truth occasionally peek through the facade. British people, in general, don't use plantation slurs to refer to black people. That unspeakable word is entirely an Americanism. So when Harry's wife complained in her most recent interview to The Cut that the royal policy of inviting the paparazzi to photograph royal children's first day of school was her personal Afghanistan because it forced her to share images of her son with people who called him the N-word, she ever so slightly showed her hand. Of course, revision of history, lie. This almost certainly never happened. But alas, the American media is permanently hungry for a Django Unchained story to confirm the inherent evil of whites, and a particular kind of insecure American enjoys the psychodrama of self-flagellation, or at least some vocal minority do. But the Anglosphere's collective obsession with Harry's wife is still deeper than her familiar penchant for calumniating family, or even her predictable position on abortion can explain. It's no secret that monarchs have been reduced to symbolic and ceremonial icons in today's Europe, and that's the only level on which they are relevant in public life. But what do they symbolize in the hearts of millions? They represent sovereignty, tribal loyalty, and an organic and socially accountable relationship with the state and its institutions, all of which have no place in our alienated, deracinated, and technocratic modern Western world. Harry's wife isn't just the in-law from hell. She's fashioned herself as the symbolic antithesis of monarchy. She represents the hatred of hierarchy and order. She represents the end of institutions, of proper distinctions, and of formality as the substance of respect. She hates what the firm represents, but she still wants to keep the honorific titles. Hypocrisy. She wears the monarchy as a profitable skin suit, chameleon, while hollowing at its dignity, devaluation. Worst of all, she reminds us of the fact that the demise of all those beautiful features of Christendom and of Western civilization itself came by invitation. A damning article indeed that sees straight through Harry's wife, both in terms of narcissist and the subsequent behaviours and what she embodies. It's unlikely that such a piece would come to the attention of Harry's wife and therefore would not amount to a threat to control, but were it to do so, she would have just dismissed it as another piece from the American right, lambasting her and no doubt joining a legion of racist British publications, and thus, rather than seeing what she is, because her narcissism will never let that happen, this entirely accurate article, in terms of observing that she is a narcissist and the associated behaviours, is yet again consigned into oblivion by Harry's wife's mind, as her narcissism nullifies this threat to control. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.